Thanks for joining us on this edition of Green and Gold Gridiron. I'm Brian Groff alongside Keith Rording from PackerReport.com. Keith, the Packers, as a tremendous mark of consistency, have reached the playoffs for the 7th year in a row.
It is, and as Mike McCarthy said, this one wasn't about style points, and luckily that's not what he was looking for because there wasn't much of that. But I'll tell you what, there were some big plays in that game. Set up 3 touchdowns and 30-21. You got to like that.
Let's dive into that just a little bit. Packers beating the Raiders 30-20, and it was the defense that got them out to that early lead.
Absolutely. So Micah Hyde undercuts that route, sets up their first touchdown, only 17 yards by the offense. They got that penalty, of course, for some type of cheerleader routine gone bad. I don't know.
Something that wasn't planned.
I don't know what was going on with that. But then you get rookie Demarius Randall in that 43-yard interception return. So great play by him. Jeff Janis, a friend of Green and Gold Gridiron and one of our guests earlier in the season, tremendous kickoff return, sets up another score. So 3 scores set up. The offense didn't need to do much, and it was a day where maybe they didn't look like they had much in them. So you don't like to see that inconsistency, but again, a win, and they're in the playoffs.
You hit on that point that there are some question marks when it comes to that offense, but as far as some positives to come out, Jared Abbrederis is definitely one of those.
Oh, yeah. He's a guy, he's getting a lot of playing time. I didn't know if he was going to make it this season. Wisconsin kid, somebody everybody was pulling for. But, of course, he had the injury, he had the concussion. So who knew if he was going to make that team? And look what he's done. I mean, he's a guy that's maximized every opportunity that's come to him. And
then Charles Woodson, the Packers matching up with their former teammate who's had a fantastic career. And at some point, he's going to end up enshrined in Canton, Ohio. What was your take on seeing him out on the field and then announcing his retirement following that game?
Once again, we talked about it on the show last week. He was leading the NFL with 10 turnover-producing plays. Lo and behold, he gets another one. He forces another fumble. So, he's ageless. He's not playing like a 39-year-old. He talked about playing past 40, but, then this week he announces his retirement. So, absolutely he's Canton bound, and it'll be sad not to see him, but it was great to see him on the field one more time.
Well, we're going to move forward in this show, bring in Jenny Ritchie, and she'll have our Titletown topics with a homegrown guy who is joining us in the studio.
Yeah. Jeff, we have Jeff here. He was inducted as part of the first class of our local Wausau Lumberjacks Hall of Fame, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to discuss his career with the Badgers. We're also going to talk about how he had a Super Bowl win with those Packers, so got a lot coming up.
Jeff Dellenbach, a graduate of Wausau East, coming up after the break. We'll have much more to come here on Green and Gold Gridiron.
Brought to you in part by Hermanning Financial Group.
Hermanning Financial Group strives to help you and your family reach your financial goals while demonstrating their core values of integrity, independence, and innovation. With offices in Wausau, Stevens Point, Manitowoc, and Wisconsin Rapids, proudly supports Junior Achievement, North Central District.
Junior Achievement gives young people the skills they need to own their economic success. Our volunteers help students with financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship.
And it's really helping me understand how it's going to be in the future.
Do you like to walk?
Do you want to live longer?
You will love square dancing.
Friends you meet for life.
Marvelous people.
I guess I meet people.
I love it.
Love it.
I love square dancing.
The fun, the family.
Great variety of music.
The camaraderie.
Too young?
It's fun.
Try it, you'll like it. Call 715-544-7969. Visit WisconsinSquareDancing.com for more information. First lesson free, singles and couples welcome.
When disaster strikes, water, fire, storm damage, and even mold, we take care of them all. Anytime, day or night, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Quality service and customer satisfaction are top priorities. Tell your insurance company you prefer North Star Cleaning and Restoration.
And remember, don't just get it clean, get it North Star Clean.
NorthStarCleaning.net. Welcome back to Green and Gold Gridiron. Brian Groff and Keith Rording, and time for us now to introduce our special guest. Of course, many people around this area know who he is. From Wausau, played at Wausau East, played for the Badgers, played 16 seasons in the NFL, won a Super Bowl championship with the Green Bay Packers. It is our pleasure to introduce and welcome Jeff Dellenbach to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we have communicated over the last couple of months, kind of planning out your visit to Wausau, and what a special time for you, getting a chance to spend some time here in Wausau and being inducted into the first ever class of the Wausau East Hall of Fame.
I'll tell you, it's been really special coming back home and
meeting up with the people that were recognized at Wausau Senior High and East, I guess you kind of group it together, is they got a tremendous depth in people that they're looking at for the Hall of Fame, and they inducted 15 the other night.
When you see guys like Crazy Legs Hirsch and Jim Otto, and I'd imagine these are people that you looked up to.
I definitely looked up to him, and ironically, Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch was the athletic director at Wisconsin, had a big part in me going there. Got to know him pretty good through that. When it was time to go to the NFL, Al Davis became a buddy of mine because of Jim Otto, so there was kind of a connection there. So there's a lot of synergy out there. You know, a lot of the coaches that coached maybe even other sports while I was at the school, but got to know them. And you know, I was kind of a gym rat, so I was always doing whatever sport was going on, and got to know a lot of the coaches. So there was a lot of connections, and it was kind of a humbling experience to sit there and hear what all these people have done. And you know, it's like, okay, I played 16 years in the NFL, but there's some pretty impressive people.
And Crazy Legs Hirsch, for him, you just mentioned about trying to get you to come to Wisconsin. What did he do? How did he help get you to go there?
Well, one of the best things that happened was that Jerry Faust took over the Notre Dame program, so it took that out of the picture, because that was kind of where I was thinking of going. And then, you know, staying close to home, every time we'd go down to visit at the University of Wisconsin, we'd hook up with Elroy, and he treated my parents very nice, and you know, kind of brought into the picture of, you know, staying close to home is a great thing, having your family at the games and all that stuff. So it really ended up being pretty special.
Now, Jeff, you've been out of the NFL for 16 years now, almost. I guess you played so many years with Miami, and that's where the bulk of your career was. Of course, we remember when you came back and played with the Packers and played in Super Bowl 31. But what do you think about it? You know, I'm sure there was a lot of reminiscing, you know, being back at Wausau East and talking about your playing career, blocking for Dan Marino, playing with Brett Favre in the Super Bowl, kind of back for the Packers for your home team. What do you think about when you reflect on your career?
Well, you know, I think the number one thing is I've been around a lot of special people, and you know, obviously great players that you just mentioned. Claim to famous, I've had a lot of famous hands on my butt, you know, which not sure it's a good thing. But you know, playing with great players, but also playing under great coaches. So you know, it's special just that I've had great opportunities. And you know, down in Miami, Fort Lauderdale is home. It's a little cold up here, so I haven't gotten home as much as I'd like. And it was just great coming back here and catching up with some people.
You did come back on a cold, rainy night, Thanksgiving, for your friend's unveiling. Brett Favre, his unveiling of his name and number inside Lambeau Field. Talk about what that meant to come back. And he was your old hunting and fishing buddy too. Yeah, I used to spend quite a bit of time with Brett in the woods. Had a lot of fun with that. Brett's a great guy, you know, just a fun guy to be around away from the football field. That evening was special, and Bart Starr actually had a little bit to do with me going to Wisconsin too. He made a phone call on behalf of the University of Wisconsin when I was a senior in high school. All of a sudden I got Bart Starr on the phone, and I'm like, yeah, okay, which one of my buddies is messing with me? It just didn't, you know, it took a little while to realize it really was Bart. And his whole talk was, you know, staying close to home and being able to keep your family around you, all that kind of stuff. So I got to see the two of them together on the field, and again, it was just a really special moment.
Yeah, that was a really amazing ceremony. You know, I was there as well. I think I walked by you on the sideline during the monsoon, seeing all those old-time players. But you know, it was just 1 year in Green Bay. But I mean, what a special year! And you know, I had forgotten that you started off that year with the Patriots, partially tore your Achilles. Yes. And it was Bill Parcells that said, hey, you should give Ron Wolf a call. I guess take us back to that year a little bit. Actually, you kind of hit it right on the money. I spent 1 year in New England, got hurt in training camp in '96, and Bill Parcells is notorious for not liking injured players. So as soon as I got healthy, he let me go, but as I was walking out the door, he said, call Ron Wolf in Green Bay. He's very interested in you. And you know, it couldn't have worked out any better. And you were back again on that '97 team for the Packers the following year. Yeah, coming back '97 and then '98, you know, went to another Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the results weren't quite the same. You learn real quick that big difference in winning the Super Bowl and just participating in the Super Bowl. Use that all the time when I'm working with young kids and stuff, that it's not good enough just to get there. You got to finish it. And you know, there's kind of a lesson learned, even though it was my 14th year at the time. You know, you think you know it all, but you keep learning new lessons. And so many years playing with Dan Marino and all those great Dolphins teams, no trips to the Super Bowl. You get to experience the high and the low with the Packers, but you weren't done playing. You kept going after that, and we talked a little bit before the show, and we were kidding around. you kept trying to retire, they kept calling you back. That's a pretty good sign of a great career.
Yeah. I think obviously I'd proven myself at that point, and I think it was late June, early July. Andy Reid gave me a call and said, "Are you working out? You staying in shape?" And of course, offensive lineman, round is a shape, so yeah, I'm in shape. And he pretty much just said, "Look, I'm not bringing you to training camp, but I'm going to bring you up here for the season. Just be ready." Yeah. And I was like, "We'll talk," and I didn't really think much of it. And he called the Thursday before regular season was opening and said, "I got a plane ticket for you. You're coming up here Sunday." Went and talked with him. He pretty much said, "Just want you to back up, help out at young offensive line coach. We got a lot of young offensive linemen." Third play of the game, the right guard blew out his knee, and I played every play from that point on. So I was like, "This isn't what I signed up for. So can we renegotiate?" But it didn't work out that way. But it was actually a great experience. Had a lot of fun. It was probably the first time I was on a team where there really weren't any expectations. Mm-hmm. So the pressure and things were a little different. Young team. So we had a lot of fun. It was exciting. We won 6 games that year and did a lot of things that people didn't expect that team to do.
Mm-hmm. And then in 2000, you finished up, you reunited with Mike Holmgren once again, who got you to unretire, and you went up to Seattle.
Pretty much the same scenario where I was done, and he called and said, "You got one more in you," and went up there. Just got the family situated up there, and unfortunately, one of the few times I did have an injury, a herniated disc in my back, and at that point, I think I felt somebody upstairs was telling me it was time to hang it up. So.
Yeah.
1986, you blocked for Dan Marino. He throws for 4,700 yards. He had topped that a couple seasons before, and Dan Fouts had a big year, but those were the top 3 for a long time for passing yardage in a single season. Now it's been passed several times. Are you amazed when you look at the game and how it's evolved and how much more of a passing game it is nowadays?
The game has definitely changed a whole lot, and I'm not sure it's for the better when I sit and watch the game, mm-hmm. The quality of the play. And when they cut down on practice time, they cut down on the amount of time college kids can work with their coaches. And you understand why they put these rules in for the safety of the players. And unfortunately, it does water down the quality of play a little bit. But, the way the ball's being thrown around, the way things are happening, scoring points, the game's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Is this a style that you, as you watch it, would you want to be playing now as opposed to when you did? With more of that pass blocking, or you like?
I love the time when I played, mm-hmm. and there was a lot of transition of what was going on. I feel like we kind of created a lot of things about the passing game, pass protection, keeping Marino, clean in the pocket, mm-hmm. doing a lot of stuff like that. Obviously with Green Bay, keeping Brett mm-hmm. safe and doing the right things. So the game was a transitional time. It still is transitioning. And, I'd love to be playing. I wish that I could play, and I'd give anything to be out there again.
Well, funny you say that. Brian had mentioned that the Packers long snapper got hurt, so if you want to
probably hear that all the time.
I feel like I could still do it. I'm just not sure I would get out of bed tomorrow. So,
so maybe 1 week, not 1 season.
Yeah, that might work. So.
I wanted to touch on your college career a little bit as well, and you talked about going down and playing at Wisconsin, and you were a multi-sport athlete, and you see so many players that go on to play in the NFL that have played other sports, but you actually played JV hockey at Madison?
Yes, I was a goalie, mm-hmm. and part of when Dave McClain was the head coach of Wisconsin, and when I committed to him, I said I would like an opportunity to play hockey because I did have some offers to go to school for hockey. And, I think to get me to commit, he said, "Oh, yeah, no problem." At the end of my freshman football season, I went to his house and walked into his living room and said, "I want to go out for hockey. You told me I could." And he kind of looked at me like, I'm not sure how serious. It was kind of look on his face, but he did. He said as long as I was contributing to the team and not just doing it to get out of football workouts, he was okay with it. So I played 2 years. JV hockey. I would get moved up a little bit every once in a while to hang out with the varsity guys, and I loved it, but I knew my future was in football.
You won the '82 Holiday Bowl with the football team. Guys like Randy Wright, who was on this show last year, mm-hmm. Tim Crumry, a lot of great Badgers players that came through, but that was a significant moment in the history of that program to have the first win.
Yeah, the first bowl win was huge. A lot of good things were happening at the time with Wisconsin. It was kind of the era of the Big Three and the rest of the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. That's how it was kind of looked at. And my freshman year, Michigan was the #1 team in the nation. First game of the year, we knocked them off, which that kind of set the tone of everything. And it really, to me, that was a time that really put Wisconsin football on the map.
What do you pick out of that entire career to kind of kind of pass on and reinforce and teach lessons with?
Well, the biggest thing I do is I look at kids as, I'm trying to help you become a decent human being. And, everything you do, take it away from the sport you're playing, football in particular. Just, are you a good person? And if you build on that and you have a good solid foundation, a lot of those other things take care of themselves. And, it's hard work. It's a lot of the, the fundamentals that were instilled in me at Wausau East and, the Wausau community. There's a lot of good, hard-working people in this community. And, I just kind of take that to the table and say, if you want it, you got to go out and get it. And I remember back to my high school days, summertime, I'd hang out with my buddies and whatever, 10:30 at night. They're going home. I went out and ran. And, they'd be like, what are you doing? You're working too hard. You're never going to make it. It's like the more they would tell me that, the harder I'd work.
That's a good lesson there. Jeff Dellenbach, Super Bowl champion and Wausau native. Much more to come here on Green and Gold Gridiron.
Looking for a high-impact way for your business to stand out from the rest? Flipside Graphics specializes in vehicle wraps, vinyl graphics, and much more. Cutting-edge graphics with professional results is what we stand for. Have a large fleet that needs to be flipped or shirts to be embroidered? Our design team will handle every aspect of the project from start to finish. We design it, we wrap it, we flip it. Call Flipside Graphics today and stand out from the competition.
Things break all the time and glue never works. What you need is Laser Bond USA, the amazing liquid plastic that fixes virtually anything in as little as 3 seconds. Laser Bond is not a glue, but a unique liquid plastic that only hardens with the UV light. Now fill in plumbing leaks in 3 seconds or less. Instantly repair kids' toys and keep playtime flying. The magic of powerful liquid plastic that hardens under ultraviolet light. The best part, the adhesive is made in the USA.
Wow, that is fast.
It bends, it's flexible.
If you mess up applying, just wipe clean. No sticky residue. Call now to get Laser Bond USA for just $19.99 and receive this protective carry case free. But wait, we're gonna double the offer absolutely free and ship your order free. Call now.
Call 1-800-504-3045 to get your Laser Bond USA. Call now or go to laserbondusa.com. So call 1-800-504-3045. Call now.
We're back here at Green and Gold Gridiron. Our special guest, Jeff Dellenbach, and we welcome back in Jenny Ritchie with our Titletown topics.
Yes, so we have a couple different things to talk about. I know you've kind of been talked out with those two, but I still have some questions that I get to ask. So you helped the Badgers to their first ever bowl win. It was 1982, I believe. So now it's pretty commonplace for the Badgers to have a bowl spot. So do you follow the Badgers still? Do you still try to watch those games?
I do follow the Badgers. I have 3 boys that are, and a daughter that are all into college sports, and they like to give me a hard time when the Badgers struggle a little bit. So
we got this being a transition year for the Badgers. How do you feel like they're going in the right direction? How do you feel they're going to be doing?
I think they're going in the right direction. I'm a Paul Chris fan. He was a few years behind me at Wisconsin, and he's definitely a good football guy. So they're going to be okay.
Awesome. So you were the Wausau East class of 1981. So I happened to be there on Friday when you were there and all the other awesome inductees. I saw you give the golden football, which is great. So looking back on your high school career, what are some of the accomplishments that really stand out to you? You mentioned you have a couple kids. They've been through the high school sports arena as well. So, what are some of those accomplishments that you took out of that?
Well, the big thing about high school sports, I'm a huge believer in training kids today that they should play every sport there is out there. I'm not into the one sport thing. I felt it helped me throughout my career.
Right.
I played football, hockey, baseball, and was fortunate to be pretty decent in all areas, and had offers to play all sports in college. So, I just think it was a great experience, and it's really hard for me to pick out like any one single moment of my high school career because there was quite a few good things that happened.
So you were in Ace Ventura. You played both a good and bad character. So.
That's, I'm actually listed twice in the...
you are listed twice in the credits for that. Yeah. So Dan Marino was in that movie as well. So did you guys joke around on set a little bit about that? Were you guys on set at the same time for that?
Yeah, we were on set. Anybody that's done a movie knows you spend a lot of time on set and not doing a whole lot.
Not doing a whole lot.
And then also when it's time, you go. And it was actually a great experience. Jim Carrey really wasn't acting. That's just his personality. And he was a great guy to be around. He would come to football, to come to practices.
Oh, fun.
He would drive Coach Shula nuts because Coach Shula is very disciplined and everything, done.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey obviously isn't all that disciplined in the way he goes about life. So.
Right. Well,
sometimes we talk about the age differences between me and Keith and Jenny. So this is one of my all-time favorite movies. So this is part of why this is in the show. But you
love this
carried
movie.
Dan Marino off. They needed a big guy, right? They needed another big bad guy to carry him off to kidnap him.
Actually, it was kind of interesting because we were doing that scene, and I had just gotten hit over the head, and they kidnapped Dan, and the two bad guys are trying to carry him, and the biggest guy there, Tiny, didn't bend real good, couldn't do anything, so he couldn't get down to the other guy's level. So they were dropping Dan. And he was like, "Hey, Jeff, come on, get over here and carry me off." So I picked him up and carried him off. And Tiny, if you look at it, he just kind of walks along the side. And I had to carry Dan, and Dan was weighing a little bit too much at the time. So.
Oh, I see.
I would imagine you're not allowed to drop Dan Marino too many times in any walk of life.
No more movies.
No, you try not to let him hit the ground.
Yeah, for sure.
So another one of your teammates was also in a movie. So we had Brett Favre and Something About Mary
One
as
of my
well.
personal favorites.
Another great one. So which quarterback was the better actor, in your opinion?
They're both terrible.
They're both terrible. Oh, that's so sad for them. But I'm glad that they had football to fall back on. At least
Jeff stole the show.
You stole the show on that one. Wonderful. Well, that's what I have for Titletown Topics today.
So those are the Titletown Topics. We have to get going to a commercial break, but one final question, because we've been kidding around about Dan Marino. Did you get the isotoner gloves?
I did get a pair of isotoner gloves. So.
You did just one pair, or do you do that continually?
Dan's cheap. I got one pair.
Only one pair. Wow. Jeff Dellenbach, thanks so much for dropping by. We appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show. Time for us to take a break, and we'll wrap things up with our NFL pick'ems after this.
When disaster strikes, water, fire, storm damage, and even mold, we take care of them all. Anytime, day or night, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Quality service and customer satisfaction are top priorities. Tell your insurance company you prefer North Star Cleaning and Restoration.
And remember, don't just get it clean, get it North Star clean.
NorthstarCleaning.net.
Hermiting Financial Group strives to help you and your family reach your financial goals while demonstrating their core values of integrity, independence, and innovation. With offices in Wausau, Stevens Point, Manitowoc, and Wisconsin Rapids, proudly supports Junior Achievement, North Central District.
Junior Achievement gives young people the skills they need to own their economic success. Our volunteers help students with financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship.
And it's really helping me understand how it's going to be in the future.
Do you like to walk?
Do you want to live longer?
You will love square dancing.
Friends you meet for life.
Marvelous people.
Like I said, meet people.
I love it.
Love it.
I love square dancing.
The fun, the family.
Great variety of music.
The camaraderie.
Too young?
It's fun.
Try it, you'll like it. Call 715-544-7969. Visit WisconsinSquareDancing.com for more information. First lesson free, singles and couples welcome.
Time for our final segment of Green and Gold Gridiron. The Packers heading back to the West Coast to visit the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona beat the Eagles 40-17 last weekend to clinch the NFC West.
They did. That Cardinals team, man, they're on a roll. Carson Palmer's a legit MVP candidate. That secondary is tough. Rookie David Johnson is running the ball. It's going to be a tough test for Green Bay.
Arizona, following the Packers, they have to play the Seahawks. Packers are still in a running for a first-round bye. If they can win out, we'll see what happens with the Cardinals in that last game of the season.
For sure. Let's hope so. I think they're going to need some help from Seattle. I'm not so sure how things are going to go this week at Arizona.
So we'll see in your NFL pick'ems.
Yeah,
maybe
no
that's
spoilers.
Away a little bit. Jenny Ritchie
segment.
joining us now. Keith went 4-1 last week, so he was leading the three of us. I got 3 right. Jenny got 2 right.
I'm closing in on you.
So you see the standings there. You are closing in. You say that every time you make a pick as well. Week 16, and we have each of the NFC North teams playing teams from outside their division. So we have a lot of games to pick. Should I go first this week?
Sure.
All right, the first one is going to be 49ers on the road at Detroit. I'm surprised that the Lions played as well as they did against the Saints, so I think they're going to keep it up. I'll go Lions.
I'm also going to go Lions. Again, New Orleans, to beat New Orleans at home, that's an accomplishment. So I'm going to go Lions.
I'm going Lions as well. Just not to take your picks or anything, but you know.
But you sort of did.
The Bears are on the road playing Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston, Buccaneers with a 6-10 record. Bears are at 5 wins.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Sounds
5 wins
right.
for them. I'm going to go Tampa Bay.
Also Tampa Bay.
I want to go Tampa Bay, but now I feel like I'm just not helping my cause. But I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
You're not helping your cause.
I'm not helping my cause.
I don't know why it's written here that the Buccaneers are 6-10. That wouldn't be right. Giants and the Vikings. I'm going to go Minnesota.
Some of those losses counted more. I'm going to go.
Why is that? I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm going to go with the Giants. This is where we're going to separate ourselves a little bit here.
I'm going to go with the Giants as well. I had it circled. He didn't.
Nice. You went with the Giants last week too, Jenny.
I did, but they were so close. I know it doesn't give me a win. I should get a half point. I should get a half point for that, though. Can I get a half point for that?
Yes.
Yes. I get a half point.
We'll check with the official judge. Packers on the road. I'm going to go with Green Bay.
I am not.
That's what I thought you'd say.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I got to see it on the field. The Packer offense is so inconsistent. Aaron Rodgers has not posted a quarterback rating over 108 games. They can't run the ball consistently. I'm going to go Cardinals. The Cardinals are hot.
I'm going Packers. I can't.
Keith, maybe it'll come down to a Hail Mary.
Can't.
As far as our locks, in honor of Jeff Dellenbach, I'm going with the Dolphins over the Colts. And the other big game of the weekend, outside of the Packers-Cardinals, the other big game, Broncos and Bengals, I'm going with Denver.
Really? Brock Osweiler. Mm-hmm. Nice. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go Steelers over the Ravens, and I'm going to go Kansas City over the hapless Cleveland Browns.
Hapless. I like how you had to add that in there.
Hapless, as if I needed
Just in case you want to know how Keith feels.
Yes.
I'm going Patriots over the Jets. I'm going Panthers over the Falcons. That's what I'm doing.
Solid picks.
All right, those are the NFL pick'ems, and Jenny's got to take a phone call apparently. And that's going to do it. Our thanks to Jeff Dellenbach. Had a great time visiting with him. You got that phone call?
Yeah,
all right,
fine.
thank you,
Don't worry
Jenny.
about it.
Thanks for
I was on
watching.
silent. Sorry.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.